Hello, Year 11. You should have submitted your assessment yesterday. If not, I'll just be sending some messages around to check in why. If you haven't and it's because you're stuck on it or you don't understand anything on there, just send a message to me first and I can go through anything with you and we can explain it question by question and I can give you any writing frames that you might need. So, what are we doing today? We'll be looking at the final failure of Weimar democracy, so carrying on from your first lesson this week. And that should finish our initial look back at the Germany unit, and we can start thinking about the other topics that we need to be looking at. So, today you'll need the worksheet open from the assessment area to put your answers on as we work through, and then submit your work at the end. The Failure of Weimar Democracy, Part 2. So our objective is to investigate the impact of depression on the Weimar government. All of us are able to describe the change of the percentage of the vote won different parties between 1924 and 28. We should mainly be looking to explain the issues of the political stability of the Weimar Republic. Some of us should be aiming to evaluate Hitler's road to power, and again, some should be looking to analyse and evaluate in what ways did President Hindenburg try to resist or limit Nazi power. So, our first task today will be to watch a film clip. By now, you should have a worksheet open from the assignments area, which you can type on. If it doesn't let you type on that, you should have a Word document open where you can make it clear which question you're answering and just type your answer in. Or if you're working on it, just make it clear which part of the lesson you are and submit a picture of that work into the assignments area at the end of the lesson. So make sure you are clicking submit on your work, because there are some people where you're in the workup, you're not clicking submit, so it's sort of just sitting there and it doesn't let me know it's there. So copy the link from the worksheet or from the assignment area and you will be able to go to the video. Once you've watched the video, you should be able to follow instructions. Come back once you're ready for some feedback on those. So here are the answers to the questions just to make answers for whilst listening to the video. So Hindenburg didn't make a chance because he believed he was too disruptive. Hindenburg was challenged by von Papen, who believed that he could use Hitler's popularity for his advantage and he'd be able to control him. In late 1932, the Nazis saw that they were coming less popular. They knew this because their vote had declined in the 1932 November election. Many of the right-wing parties supported Hitler because they viewed him as a solution to the threat of communism, because the vote for communists was going up at this time as people looked to the extremes. Von Papen's deal was that he would be Hitler's vice-chancellor. Hitler would only 2 Nazi party cabinet members, so your cabinet is the closest group of politicians that will attend meetings regularly, that make the important decisions about how the country's run. He didn't initially support von Papen's deal. He appointed von Schleicher as chancellor, but once von Schleicher had resigned, he had to go with Papen's deal. And Hitler achieved his power because he was made president by Hindenburg and the use of Article 48, which allowed him to appoint new chancellors. So, our task today is to describe 2 ways in which President Hindenburg tried to resist or limit Nazi power. This is a 4-mark question. You need to name 2 key effects, so 2 impacts of 2 actions that he did, and support that with facts about those features. So use specific and detail. So make sure you describe both of those 2 effects and think about what Hindenburg did initially and then what he did once he was already chancellor. So tell me something that Hindenburg wanted to do and give some evidence. So if it's maybe you're thinking about the fact he was given a vice-chancellor, or maybe the number of people that he was allowed in his cabinet was limited, you give me that specific example. It is a low number. why is it important that he's only been given that? So your first mark will be saying about the cabinet, and your second mark will be why it was a way Hindenburg tried to limit his power. So you've got space on your worksheet to do your writing. I've put your level guides and your hints out for you, so just write the worksheet here. If not, make sure you're working on the notes Word document in the assignments area, or that you're working on paper and submitting your picture of your answer. So now that you're in your answer and you've got your level descriptors, have a go at set marking, see how many marks you would give yourself, and have a look at what you've missed out. So I've put up some example information here which you could use to mark against your answer. So Hindenburg refused to give the chancellorship first Hitler because he thought the Nazis were disruptive. He used his emergency powers of Article 48 to appoint different people to be in chancellor. So he gave von Papen and von Schleicher the job before he gave it to Hitler. So that's one way Hindenburg tried to resist or limit Nazi power. A second way is Hindenburg tried to limit Hitler's power once he had become Chancellor. He gave him von Papen as Vice Chancellor, and he also allowed Hitler and the Nazis to only have two members in cabinet, meaning there would be less Nazis involved in important decision making. So that answer would get you your 4 marks. So it's 1 mark for each time you said what Hindenburg did, and then a second mark stating how that linked to limiting or resisting Nazi power. So write your mark underneath your answer in green, make it clear so that I can see it, and then give yourself reasoning. So if you've given yourself 2, say why it's 2 out of 4. So tell me, is it that you missed out backing your answer up with some facts, or have you only talked about one point detail where you talk about 2? So what you should do with the rest of this lesson, so I'll try to keep it fairly short. Can you make sure you go back for any previous lessons that you've looked at? If you've attempted bronze and silver tasks, have a go at gold and platinum or the challenge questions. If any lessons out entirely, go back and complete them. So by the end of today, you should have no incomplete assignments. Remember, if you are going back onto a document to improve in green and then just submit the improved to me and I can easily see what's in green. And remember, if there's any lesson that when you're looking back, stuck at, or you can be a task which you didn't understand it, use time to ask me. So send me a message in Teams or through email, and I'll get back to you, and we can go through whatever it is you might not have understood, or if you I can explain it to you quick. So how does all of this link into your careers? You could be a heritage manager, so someone who looks after historical properties and sites. So places such as castles, Warwick Castle you visit, or closer to home, like Ford Green Hall up in Norton is an old Tudor house which is maintained. So these places are all maintained by people that are training in history. So your salary could be from 16,000 to 21,000, and if you've got a postgraduate qualification into university, you can earn up to 25 grand. You need to be able to communicate well with others because as you're walking around, you've got to explain things to them. You've got to be able to point at different items and say what they are. If people have questions, you need to answer. And the best bits are you get to see some amazing historical sites. And next lesson, we will be learning about the establishment of Hitler's dictatorship. And if you want to look ahead, there's a link on your worksheet which you can follow to the BBC Bite Size page. It'll tell you all about that so you can do a bit of prior learning. But that is the end of today's lesson. Make sure you've got any questions about anything that you're sending them to me through email or the Teams chat. And make sure that you are also going back using some of this time to improve on your previous lessons. Make sure there's no gaps where you've lessons that you haven't submitted. If you've submitted and got 0, that means you didn't attach your work. Make sure that you did the work it's attached, or if you didn't do it, it needs to be completed.